Hey comic book fans, my nerdy friends, my geeky compadres, what's going on? Welcome to another Tradin with RWC. Today we're going to be looking at Invisible People. Okay, first things first, Invisible People, done entirely by Will Eisner. I actually picked this book up only because it's a Will Eisner book. I didn't know anything about it previously, but, you know, Will Eisner, the Eisner Awards, kind of a big name. So, decided to pick it up, read it today, and really enjoyed it. Invisible People is about... It's three different stories about people kind of in city life that get lost in the shuffle. Just kind of, you know, under certain circumstances, are just people that are invisible, like, to the rest of the world. The first story deals with a guy named Pinkus Pleatnik. He is just this kind of guy who has always felt more comfortable by himself, alone, kind of hiding away from just everything. So much so that one day his obituary shows up in the newspaper, and he tries as hard as he can to convince everybody else that he's not dead, but he can't. He never really sees the landlord, so they change the lock. He never really talks to his boss, so they get a new person to take his job from the union. He has no family, just nobody who cares for him. And I guess I can give away the ending. So the union replaces him at his job. The men's suit union. And then there's the presser union. He worked in a like a Martinizing shop, where he presses shirts, you know, and the pressers replace him. Well, the men's tailor union also wants to replace him. The head of the presser union hears that... Oh my god, I got this so messed up. So Pinkus goes back to his job, trying to work and prove that he's still alive. The guy who replaced him from the pressers union calls his boss, tells his boss that some dude's here he doesn't know. The boss thinks it's a new guy from the men's suit union, has a couple guys pick him up, take him on a ride to New Jersey to dump him. Halfway there, he opens up the door and falls out, and falls off a cliff to his death. So yeah, there's that. Let me see if I can... Yeah, I love the art in this, just so you know. That's Pinkus trying to get out of the car. Whole thing's in black and white, but it's just, like, look at this. Just fantastic stuff. So yeah, he ends up dying, and everything just kind of goes on as it was because people already thought he was dead. So that's one story. The next story is about a guy named Morris who has this ability as a child to kind of heal things. he like healed like sick cats and like dead flowers and stuff like that. And throughout his life, he's been looking for what made this power, you know. He ends up taking on a bunch of jobs, but they end up being cons, and he gets upset because the power that he thought that these jobs possessed were all fake. He ends up working in the circus, trying to be a magician. Magic is not, well, the magic he was looking for is not real. He ends up walking into a gypsy tent, gypsy fortune teller's tent, and realizes her whole thing is a con, but he helps her kind of get over on people. They open up their own shop in the city, and they make a ton of money. Eventually, he gets tired of conning all these people out of all this money, and he complains to her, and she kicks him out. So he goes on for a while and is a bum, and ends up starting his own business as Holy Morris the Healer, where crippled people come in, he heals them, and he makes money off of it. So he turns kind of like a legit healer. After a while of doing pretty well, the gypsy he lived with for like 7 years comes back and presents him with this child who she says is his. The child is crippled and can't speak. She says, if you're such a great healer, then heal him. He can't for some reason. And after that, he kind of goes into this Great Depression and just blends in with the crowd. And he becomes a bum pretty much. Here. And then the third and final story is about two people, one being Hilda and the other being Herman. Hilda is a 40-year-old lady who has spent her entire life taking care of her very sick father. Her mother died when she was like 10, and her dad was sick pretty much from that point on. She is taking care of her dad, and he's asking her questions like, oh, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you get married? And she was pretty much just saying, like, I did it to take care of you. In the middle of an argument, he ends up dying, and she doesn't know what to do from then on. It kind of shows some stuff of her, like, getting a letter from a place in Arizona where they said, oh, sorry, you couldn't come and teach for us. We had a spot open for you. We had to replace you. We had to fill that spot. So, sorry. And then, like, it goes into a flashback where, apparently a guy she was seeing said that she has to leave her father and come with him, and they're going to get married. But she doesn't leave her father, and the guy leaves. So she ends up going to work like the next day and sees a gentleman come in, Herman, and she's talking to her like fellow employee and asked who he was, and she said, oh, that's Herman. He's 50. He lives with his mom. He's taking care of his mom. His dad died when he was a little kid. Pretty much the exact same story as Hilda. Well, they start like getting together and spending time together, and Hilda tells Herman that she wants to marry him. Hilda then talks to Herman's mom a year later and says that she's going to marry Herman. Herman's mom says no, it's not going to happen. It's just this kind of fight between like girlfriend and mom. It ends up happening that Hilda and Herman's mom have this big fight. Herman tells his mom that he's going to marry her. Tough crap. Herman's mom tells Herman that the power's been the gas has been shut off, that he needs to go down to the deli and get something to eat for supper. And she thinks to herself, well, because the gas is turned off, she's gonna fake her own death and like stick her head in the stove. Herman will come back, see what's happened, and be just so relieved that she's not dead that he'll give up on Hilda. It turns out the super turned off the gas to clean the pipes. Pipes are cleaned while Herman's gone. They turn the gas back on. Herman's mom has her head in the stove. Right here. And turns out she doesn't die from it. She's just like paralyzed and can't do anything on her own. So Hilda comes in, moves in with him to take care of Herman and his mom. One night Hilda makes dinner for them, has the stove turned on, reminds Herman to light a candle for his dad because it was the day he died. They go through their normal business during the night. Hilda takes care of Herman's mom. At the end of the night, they can't remember if they turned the gas on, off or not. Herman's mom tilts over the candle and pretty much burns the place down. Both Herman's mom and Hilda die. Herman is left with one eye, a fake leg, and a paralyzed arm. And he goes back to work, and the people he works with still don't know who he is. So he's become invisible to everybody all over again. Overall, I really, really enjoyed this. Will Eisner is a great storyteller, and the art is fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. Really good stuff. If you're ever able to pick this up, I suggest doing so. On here it says the cover price is $12.95. I wouldn't hesitate to pay that for this. It was really, really good. So yeah, like I said, if you guys get the chance, pick this up. I'm going to be on the lookout for more Will Eisner stuff, just because I really enjoyed how this went. Assuming the rest of his stuff is fantastic like this. I know he's got his the Spirit archives that he did. In the back here, it kind of shows the Will Eisner library, like a list of stuff he's done. So I might be on the lookout for those. Just because I like this one so much. I thought it was great. So yeah, if you get a chance, pick up Invisible People. That's it for now. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.